So finally, I want to ask you, like someone out there who's considering going into engineering and is looking at all the different possibilities of engineering, why would it be a good idea for them to choose to become a computer engineer?
So first of all, why would they want to be an engineer in the first place, you know? Become a banker and they can have their 3 houses and have us pay the taxes to allow them to have those 3 houses, right? So I don't know you want to be an engineer at all. I guess the only reason for being an engineer is because what turns you on is solving problems, see? And you get up in the morning and you say, wow, I get to solve problems today, you know? And that's what engineers do, is solve problems. Now, problems are across the board. And your question was, why computer engineering? Mm-hmm. Because we've just scratched the surface of what computers can do. You know, so the analogy would be an iceberg. You know, we're at the tip of the iceberg. There are so many things that we can be using computers for that we're not yet. The fact, the work that you and I do, where we're trying to speed up the processing, we'd like to be able to predict a tsunami. Now, if the program, the tsunami is going to hit tomorrow, I'd like to know that today so I can get out of town, right? It does me no good to have a program predicting a tsunami and it takes 2 weeks before that program says, you know, the tsunami is going to hit tomorrow. Well, it's 13 days later, you know, when you find out, and you can just look at the debris and know that the tsunami hit. Or cure cancer. You know, if a program is, you get the symptoms of the person, and you start the program running, and 20 years later, you get the results of what to do to cure this guy's cancer. Except he's dead already, you know, because 20 years is a long time. So we want to speed up the processing. There's a lot of applications in that. Medical diagnosis, we're already starting to that. We have the super doctor at, I don't know, MD Anderson in Texas, or Sloan Kettering in New York, or Mayo Clinic, I guess, or wherever, and you got the expert there. But the patient is over there. And with computers, and communication also, by the way, which is part and parcel of computers. In fact, I think that we are lucky to have an electrical and computer engineering department, because you get both the computing capability and the communication capability, and together it opens up the solution of a lot of problems. We have only scratched the surface of the uses of computers. It's already had an incredible effect on people's lives. You know, there's going to be a time, so I'd say 10 years from now, you won't have a driver's license anymore. Now you're going to need to have something to get you through security in the airplanes, but the point of knowing how to drive a car is going to be, you know, that's yesterday, you know, that nobody's going to drive a car. In fact, we're going to have it such that if you want to drive a car, your insurance is going to go up, because we can't trust you, a human, behind the wheel. We'll have a computer behind the wheel, say. We already have an experiment of that. Google, you know, has this car, which they, right. Yeah, but Google has got one car on the road. How about if every car is powered by a computer? So we still have to work out some kinks, but within 10 years, you will get into the car, the back seat, sit down. Your weight on the seat will trigger the synthesized voice that will say, "Where to, master?" And you'll tell him, or tell it, it's a computer, it's not a him. You'll tell it, and then the computer will look it up in the GPS, which will have this other feature that we mentioned earlier about the traffic control. And then you can sit there and read the paper, and finally the car will stop and you'll be in front of your house or in your driveway or whatever. I would say 10 years from now, insurance companies will not want you to drive a car, because you're a human and you're prone to making mistakes, whereas computers can be done much more precisely. That's what we're going to see. So there's a simple application.
Actually, there's a lot of applications of computer engineering, right? This is what I tell students, right? Why go into computer engineering? You can think of numerous applications.
It
right?
just, again, the tip of the iceberg. There is so many things that we haven't done yet, you know. So a lot of things, you know, if you go back when I was a kid, you know, Dick Tracy with his, you know, and we said, now, you know, everybody has that capability. there's just so much more that that can be done that we haven't even. In fact, the computer engineers are not the dreamers. They'll be just people saying, "Oh, why don't we do this?" And then the computer engineer will provide that, and it'll be new. You know, you understand the difference between an engineer and a scientist. See, a scientist's job is to explain what is. An engineer's job is to create what never was. See, so, and computers is, you know, clearly the future. In fact, I went to graduate school to study electromagnetics. And I remember this guy saying, "Why are you studying electromagnetics? The future's computers." Now, I started graduate school, what, 52 years ago, you know? And today I'm still saying, you know, that in those 52 years, we certainly have done a lot, but we're nowhere near, we scratched the surface. There's plenty of problems out there where the computer can provide the impetus, the zest that will, you know, make solutions possible. So no, if a student wants to study engineering, which I hope that, you know, solving problems, if that's what turns you on, there's no better place than in computer engineering, because the problems are just, you know, they're plentiful, you know.
Professor Yale Pat from the University of Texas at Austin, thanks again for dropping by.
It's been a pleasure.